Hello everybody, and thanks for coming back to my channel. Or if you're new here, my name is Riley, but you may know me as Honey Rags. I'm a full-time reseller. So today I'm going to kind of share my opinion or answer a question that has been asked a few times pertaining to reselling clothing. So that's what I'm going to focus on. And the question that I have been asked a few different times, which really kind of caught my interest because it's something I still think about to this day, is when it comes to reselling clothing, do you focus on quality or quantity? So with all of my opinion and question videos, you guys know I just can't answer that with a direct answer at quality or quantity. You know, I kind of have to elaborate more on why or what that question means to me. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to be doing a small clothing haul to show you guys from the past week or so. Some of the items in the haul you might be surprised by. So if you aren't interested in this questionnaire, whatever you want to call it, go ahead and fast forward the video until you see me going through the clothing, and that would be the haul. I think every clothing reseller's either ultimate goal or, on the contrary, their beginning expectation of reselling clothing is always quality over quantity. Of course, your expectations are that you find Kate Spade or Christian Louis Vuitton red bottom heels or Prada or something like that at the thrift store. But that is not how it works. I think if we all had a choice handed in front of us and we all had the opportunity to choose quality over quantity, we always would choose quality, of course, because you make a bigger return on each item. Quality also means different things to different clothing resellers. Some people would consider, the quality aspect being Bowden and Anthropologie and North Face and brands like that, whereas some people would consider quality being high-end brands. And I'm going to focus on this question being quality as in high-end brands versus mall brands like Banana Republic or even Anthropologie brands being on the quantity side of the argument. Do I focus on reselling quality or quantity? I fall somewhere in between, of course. I don't have the option to just sell high-end quality items. I'm in an area where, Coach is almost as good as it gets for the most part. So even if I go down to my really nice consignment shops in this area, I'm probably not even going to find, Burberry or anything close to that, even at the consignment shops. So I don't have really the option of choosing these high-end brands and reselling them. Although some people, I think people who are in or around bigger cities and the outskirts of LA and stuff, although the thrifting prices and the secondhand prices are really high, they still have that option because there's more of that type of thing available secondhand. Whereas where I'm from, the chances of you finding a luxury designer item even at a consignment shop where it's marked up are very, very low. So unless you're doing it sourcing online, that's really not even feasible. Let's see what I got on my little notepad. Along that subject, there are people who, are resellers, obviously, who kind of specialize in luxury. And what I mean by specialize is obviously if I see a luxury or high-end brand, I've been doing, the reselling the clothing thing, I have my foot in the door with it. I know what I'm doing. Obviously, I'm going to be able to authenticate it. I hope, unless it's a really, really good knockoff, then I'll have to do some extensive research. But there are people who specialize in the luxury market, and they know by looking at something and know off the top of their head, the model, what collection it's from, how sought after that specific piece is or that style, especially with things like Tom Ford and Dior and Chanel. It depends on that style and how sought after that is, what year it was made and stuff like that. So obviously people who specialize that are going to have better luck paying $100 for something and then flipping it for $500 to $600, where their risk is pretty low because they know what they're doing. With me, although I know my luxury brands, I know how to generally authenticate that kind of stuff, I'm not confident in paying up towards, you know, $100 or $200 for something and knowing that that specific piece is going to bring me in at least, you know, double or triple that amount of return. So people who specialize in the luxury side of reselling clothing, I think they really know what they're doing. It's a study. It's definitely something that they have a lot of knowledge for, and they can take that risk, they can take that bet, because they can just kind of trust their instincts because they've done this for a while. Me, on the other hand, my thing has been selling like mall brands and maybe a little bit higher end brands, but nothing like the luxury market, that's for sure. On the quantity side of things, if you are someone who, if you're just looking into quantity, which when I first started reselling clothes, my first focus, not by choice really, but just to get my foot in the door, I was definitely doing quantity over quality, not because I knew that those items would sell. I resold vintage before clothing. I knew that, you know, no matter how much research you do, no matter how many tips you take from other resellers, it's really trial and error for the first few months. And that definitely rang true with reselling clothing, because there were some brands that I did not think would sell that ended up selling, that I still pick up to this day. And then there were some brands that I thought for sure would sell that I have been sitting on since basically when I first started. So when I first started reselling, yeah, I definitely tried to do the quantity. I knew I was gonna have a few bad buys, but I was kind of okay with that. Where I am now with reselling clothing, I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm somewhere comfortable in the middle. I found my balance between quantity and quality so that I'm still sending out enough packages, but I'm not sending out packages that I'm like only making pennies on. I think a lot of resellers, we feel like we're kind of like giving new life to something. We're repurposing something, you know, we're recycling. Really, there's a huge pressure on the clothing industry right now because of the fast fashion, and, you know, making these textiles and making all this clothing is really, really wasteful. And I think a lot of people finally are catching on to that. So as a reseller, when you sell, you know, a clothing reseller at least, who really like, who has a passion for this, where I have a passion for reselling clothing, it does feel really good to, you know, send out 5 or 10 items one day, even if I only made between, you know, $10 and $15, or sometimes even less each. It still feels really good. So that as well is enough of a return for me to keep doing some of the bread and butter items that are more on the quantity side. So obviously I know if I pick up something that's Banana Republic, which I still pick up quite a bit, I'm probably not going to sell it for over $15, but I'm okay with that, because even if I make a $7 profit off of selling something for $15 after what I paid in the fees, not only does that add up, but it's also rewarding to me, because I feel like, you know, I just repurposed something. I just gave something new life. So that's something to consider as well for people who do the quantity side of things. Of course, there are plenty of upsides to each, which I think are pretty much self-explanatory. I'm not going to go into the pros and cons of each one, but I am going to end this with, if you are someone who wants to dabble in the quantity approach and you're hesitant about picking up mall brands, which is totally, you know, understandable. I get it. Nobody wants to waste money on inventory that isn't going to sell. You know, that obviously takes away from your net profit at the end of the month or year, or however you calculate your income. If you start selling a lot of items for, you know, $10 to $15 a piece, it is quite easy to burn yourself out. So that is something to consider as well. If you want to dabble in the quantity side, that's, I guess, my only warning really, besides the loss of investment if something doesn't sell. You know, if it's like you're trying the trial and error method, like I had to do it first. There are days where I sell a lot of things. There are weekends where, you know, it feels like on Sunday I have 15 things to package up, and they all sold for between $10 and $25 each. And it can get overwhelming sometimes, especially with my children and listing these items as well. You know, I steam everything that I get, I measure it, I photograph, I list, and then it just feels like you can kind of repeat the same mundane task over and over and over again if you're choosing the quantity side, which some people that might not be for you. If you are doing this part-time and you work full-time, or you're a student and it's not something you're ready to completely invest yourself in, definitely be wary of like the quantity side of things, because you can go source and you can go get 200 tops within the next week, you know, easily, if you are in a good location for sourcing or if you are near a bins. But actually getting those items to be listed, and you have to share them constantly if you're on Poshmark, and then selling them, shipping them, you can get burned out or overwhelmed easily. So if you're someone that's doing this like maybe part-time, or you're not ready to completely invest in it, maybe you could lean more towards the quality side and just go thrifting for fun, and kind of keep your eye out for things that you think will sell for, you know, $30, $40 plus. That's my only tip there. Other than that, like I said, I have a healthy balance between quality and quantity. I think when I sell a lot of things, I feel very accomplished at the end of the day. Obviously, when I sell something for like $75, $100, it is like an instant rush of adrenaline, like, oh my gosh, like I just flipped this from $5 to $75. That feels amazing as well. I love falling in the middle, somewhere in the middle. So that is what I have to say about quantity versus quality. I wish I could give you guys a direct answer and just like tell you one, because I have actually had a few people ask me this question, but I can't choose one. But like I said, it depends on how you view quality and how you view quantity. So now I am moving on to the haul. Okay, so my first one to show you guys is this Velvet by Graham and Spencer. It has this really pretty embroidery on it. So this is a brand that some people may not always pick up, but I always like trying new things, and this is actually my first time finding this brand. The comps are all over the place. It doesn't retail for a crazy amount new, but like I said, I like trying new brands to see if it works for myself, and I think I will list this around $15 just to start. I found these Vera Bradley pajamas. This is a set with a top and bottom. They're extra small. I'm a sucker for Vera Bradley, even though her purses are really saturated now. I think the pajamas will do well. I found this Finn and Clover dress. It's a little basic compared to what I normally pick up, but this is an Anthropologie brand, and I think it will do well around the $20 price range. Nothing crazy, but this will look really good on a mannequin, so I think it will sell for that. I also found this Horny Toad dress, which Horny Toad is kind of like an athleisure brand. They actually changed the company name to Toad & Co., Toad & Company, but the name change was pretty recent, so this is still a pretty recent label for them. I think I will list this around $25 to start, just because it's in really nice condition, and I really love this. It looks like almost fish scales print. I know it's probably not, but I really like this look. I also found this vintage medium. It's a color block mock neck dress. I don't know what it is about vintage mock necks, but I love them, and color blocks is really hot right now. I'll probably list that one for about $25. I also found this Victoria's Secret pink zip up athletic jacket. It has the logo on the back, which people like having the logo on the front and back. This burgundy color sells really well for me, and obviously pink does well for me, so I think I will list this one at $20. I also found this really cool Ralph Lauren, it's like a Western style jacket. It's just very textured. I really think this one will do well. It's definitely like borderline equestrian, so I'll probably list that in the title. I'll probably list this one around $30. I found this happy hour top with this just cool graphic, literally stay cool. It said it's hand dyed in Long Beach. I couldn't really find good comps on this piece, but probably list it between $15 and $20. I also found this Brooklyn clothwear, which I have never found before, and the retail price isn't high. Like, you could probably get this for like $30 new, but I couldn't find this piece anywhere, and I really love these parrots. I love these colorful parrots, so I think I'm gonna list this one at $15. I think it will sell for that just because of the print. On this really crazy, like, obnoxious print men's top. It has these like jukebox, like this 1960s theme print. It's in great condition. The brand is something I've never heard of, Apparel Stuff R Us, which I don't know what I love about this, but it's so tacky. I think it will do well. I'll probably list it around $20. Then I found this purse. It's actually Charming Charlie, which is a mall brand. This probably didn't retail for much. It's not like, I find Charming Charlie a lot and I never pick it up. But as soon as I saw this purse from across the store, I knew I had to have it. I paid $6 for it, which is expensive for a Charming Charlie purse because I normally wouldn't pick them up anyway. But because of this style, I think I'm going to list this one at $20. And obviously, like, the return isn't huge, but I think this will look really cute in my closet. And I want to give it a good home because I love it. And I also found these Michael Kors boots, which were actually only priced at $5. I was shocked because usually boots at my Goodwill are priced above like $6 or $7 regardless of the brand because they're boots. These are in like excellent condition, and I love this wrap up, almost moccasin style, like moccasin inspired, I should say, with the wrap up leather string around them. But I think I will list these ones around $50 and see how they do. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. As always, my name is Honey Rags, honey.rags on Instagram. I'm gonna provide you guys with a link below in the description. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, you should definitely follow me on Instagram because there's a great reseller community there. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more reseller related content in the future. So thank you for watching. And as always, happy selling.